Hello and welcome to another edition of Robbie Rill's Vinyl Picks. On today's edition we're going to take a look at a song and a film that were equally as bad as each other. Up your anchor for a well-crewed voyage, we take a look at the 1992 offering of Carry On, Columbus. Any Carry On fan would know that the original series ended in 1978. The ill-fated Carry On Emmanuel was enough to send cinema goers elsewhere to watch a decent film. But who would know that 14 years later, the same director and same producer would try and revive the series in form of Carry On Columbus. The 31st Carry On film would coincide with the 500th anniversary of Christopher Columbus' arrival in the Americas. Two more films were of subject matter and of a more serious nature: 1492 Conquest of Paradise and Christopher Columbus The Discovery, which all came out in the same year. If you liked Christopher Columbus, well, you'd be alright. If you loved a Carry On film, you probably wouldn't be alright. The plot was feeble, it didn't really hold out for much, and quite frankly, Jim Dell and a few other regulars just about held it together.
100 Maravedis, sign here. I can't read or write. I'll just make you mark, Mom. Can you count? So can I. How many fingers? One, two, three. Very good, keep going. Three. 8. 8, exactly. And here's your 800 Maravedis. 1, 2, 3, 8. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
However, that wasn't enough. Unfortunately, Carry On Columbus sunk without trace. The film itself cost a whopping £2.5 million to actually make. The film was panned by the critics, claiming it as flaccid, feeble and a poor comeback effort. Some would go on to say it was wretched and a pathetic attempt of reviving the Carry On series. However, saying that, Carry On Columbus took more money at the UK box office than the other two Columbus films that were released in the same year, although all three films were a major flop. It is reported that even some of its stars would later to go on to say, "I'd rather just forget that one." And in 2004, it was voted the worst British film ever made. Which brings us to the soundtrack. Whilst the opening theme tune had something to go by, and it was quite listenable, the end theme tune is a completely different kettle of fish. So let's take a look at this 12-inch record. The song was recorded by Fantastic Planet, an unknown group that really didn't do anything other than, well, this Carry On Columbus theme tune. They're not remembered for being anything important in the 90s, and quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if they'd done any other singles. However, we look at the front cover, and immediately you're hit by the word Carry On Columbus with a big yellow cover. On the back, if we have a look, it tells you exactly what we've got on this 12-inch record. We've got the Carry On Columbus extended edit. We've got the Carry On Columbus Android mix. We flip the record over to see the New Love Baby vocal mix and an instrumental mix of the New Love Baby mix. Now, all these were written and produced by Malcolm McLaren and Lee Gorman. You think Malcolm McLaren would put his name to something of good stature? He clearly didn't know what he was getting himself in for. This theme tune is absolutely dire. Really, it puts the Carry On name to major shame. It really does. This other record I've got is a DJ promo that I managed to get my hands on. This plays a little bit differently. This plays at 45 RPM, but if we have a look on this one, we've got exactly the same tracks that we've got on the original one, except this is a white label release. No different whatsoever. So, the theme tune itself was dismal. The film was dismal. Is there really anything to talk about? Well, have a listen to this soundbite from the actual theme and see what you make of this. It really is a theme tune that really wouldn't get stuck in your head, and really, along with the film, you really think you've had a bad time if you had paid for this in 1992 at the cinema. There you go. What did you think of that? Well, put your answer in the comment box below and let us know what you actually thought of that song. Maybe you liked it. Maybe you thought it was something new. Maybe you thought it had some vibrance that maybe I can't see. However, this song was nothing to shout about in 1992. It didn't even chart in the singles chart. So really, this song overall wasn't a memorable fixture, just like the film. I'm going to leave you now with a little bit of what Barry Norman had to say on Film 92. He was full of love for the film and couldn't say enough about it. Until next time, happy collecting.
At which point we come to the second of this year's 3 films about Christopher Columbus. If Christopher Columbus the Discovery was pretty duff, and it was, what on earth can one say about Carry On Columbus? Well, let's put it this way. Do you think such hoary old double entendre as Did He Give You One? I've seen his testimonials, or I'm Don Juan, I'm one too, are still funny? You do, don't you? Well, in that case, you deserve this picture, and you'll probably enjoy it, though you might have enjoyed it more if I hadn't already told you the best jokes. Sorry about that. Most of the time, as the movie plodded along, I found myself yearning for the old carry-on hands, the likes of Sid James, Barbara Windsor, Kenneth Williams and Charles Hawtrey, people who knew how to invest hackneyed material with vulgar energy and comic timing. Believe me, there are some people in Carry On Columbus whom you wouldn't trust to deliver a written message, let alone a purportedly funny line. So we'll draw a discreet veil over the rest of that while I tell you